Hey everybody, Alex McCarthy and Robby Howard here from Inside Indiana for Inside Indiana Overtime of a game that maybe you don't, as an IU, if you're an IU fan out there, maybe you never ever want to read anything or see anything or hear anything about this game ever again. But we're going to talk about it for a few minutes anyway. For those of you who like torturing yourselves, I guess. You know what happened? Indiana lost 66-65 in just one of the biggest collapses I think I've ever seen live, and really one of the uglier 5-minute stretches of basketball I've seen from Indiana ever. They don't make a field goal in the last 5:16. They don't score in the last 2:09. Penn State ends on a 10-0 run. I mean, the numbers are just you can rattle them off all day. 20 turnovers for the game. They've committed 31 turnovers in the last three halves of basketball because they had 11 after halftime in Minnesota. Robby, I guess have you seen anything like what we saw tonight in person?
Not that I can remember. No, this was pretty bad. I
It was
had
pretty bad.
the entire recap written. It was good to go. Just had to fill in the blanks, post it online. We're gonna be good to go. And then Penn State starts to make a little run. So I had, the little note. Penn State made it close.
Yeah,
4-point game, and then that's where you leave the space for. But the Hoosiers made 6 free throws down the stretch. They iced the game, won by 4, whatever. That never happened. No, IU just, they couldn't score. They completely inept on offense for the final 2 minutes. And it was so crazy because, like we were saying before, the Hoosiers had a really, really good game for, you could argue, for 38 minutes. They played the first half, aside from the turnovers, was really good. They were clicking on all cylinders.
And they were shooting the heck out of the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, they were at 60% at some point in the second half.
And I mean, they still finished at 52%,
Yeah.
which is still really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, the dunks, everyone was dunking. Troy Williams, Yogi Ferrell, the alley-oop, that worked twice. Will Sheehy had 2 dunks. I mean, it was a really fun game to watch. And then, I don't know what happened.
The word that kept coming up after the game was panic. And that's very odd to me how an IU team at home can panic against Penn State. I mean, it's not like Penn State is a terrible, terrible team, but I mean, Indiana's beaten them this year. Penn State was 3-8, I think, coming into this game in the Big Ten. And an Indiana team should not ever be panicking in Assembly Hall,
especially this
unusual.
late in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be one thing if maybe this was the Big Ten opener. This is IU's a young team's first exposure to a good team. Maybe then you might somehow be able to understand that a little bit.
Yeah. But this is just completely. I mean, there are only, I think, 7 games left in the season.
Yeah.
I mean, this
team has grown up now.
Yes, we could say all we want about freshmen starting and sophomores playing, all this stuff. They've played 20 games.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played like 25
games. They know what
games.
Big Ten basketball is like at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah. I mean, this is not. You cannot attribute this to being young anymore. To being, Tom Crean said after the Notre Dame game in Indianapolis that the lights were too bright. The lights are not going to be too bright, especially in your own arena in front of your fans. And so it's almost unfathomable how those last couple of minutes transpired. They couldn't inbound the ball. They turned the ball over, I think, 3 times.
3 times in the final 33 seconds.
Yeah, and there was the travel that Evan Gordon had. It was where IU didn't even really have a chance to
shoot.
They didn't have a chance to play offense.
Aside from Yogi Ferrell's last-minute heave at the buzzer, they only had 1 shot attempt in the final 121.
Yeah, which is amazing. I mean, it's incredible how really they didn't even really get the ball past half court in the last couple of minutes. It didn't seem like until there was that really off-balance shot that Ferrell took while he was double teamed and
I thought it was going to get blocked.
Yeah, I mean, you really think that there could have been something better on that play than just running up the court, but
it shouldn't have gotten to that point.
No. I mean, the last play is whatever, but it's the turnovers, it's the and the defensive play too. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before we started filming that you have to credit Penn State for making their shots, but they were really open shots. I mean,
and free throws.
Yeah, Tim Frazier is 8 for 8 from the line. He scores 6 points in the last 2 minutes, I think, or last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Including that last layup where he I think it was Yogi Ferrell who was guarding him, where he just completely crossed him up and
No
just
help
went,
side defense.
yeah, went almost unchecked to the basket. It was actually, watching it, it was kind of similar to DeAndre Matthews' layup at Minnesota
Sure.
last weekend. That it wasn't like that was the, you know, put them ahead or something, but it was the basket that kind of put it out of reach for Indiana at Minnesota. And it's just kind of, we've seen it a few times this season where Indiana plays a great first half, and we've seen it on the road mostly, where they play a great first half and then just can't get it together in the second half.
But this wasn't even like a second half issue.
Yeah.
This was a final 5 minutes really issue. I mean, you look at the run, I think, really started after Jeremy Hollowell fails to inbound the ball. IU gets a 5-second call, and Tom Crean said that that's just a lack of awareness. That
Yeah.
he needed to take the timeout. He didn't. IU ends up turning it over. Penn State's Brandon Taylor, I think, hit a 3 off of that turnover. IU doesn't do anything on offense. Taylor comes back, hits a jumper. Suddenly, it's a 2-point game.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe it was a 4-point game.
I think it was a 2-point game when he made
okay.
that. I think that. Yeah, but
it was close.
Yeah.
And so, out of nowhere, Penn State now is close when it looked like this should not have been a close game down the stretch.
No.
3:34 to go. IU led by 12.
It's amazing.
12 points, 3 minutes. I mean, like you're
That is
pretty
very
much
hard to
locked
screw up.
into a win there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, you just have to like get fouled. You have to.
Yeah, they should have been able to ice the game from the free throw line.
Yeah, they should have, and they couldn't even touch the ball. I mean, they couldn't even.
Basic basketball skills.
Yeah, yeah, you got to inbound it. There were a couple points where I was thinking, and I was talking with people around me where I said they inbound the ball and they win. With whatever it was, like 16 seconds left, or in the last 30 seconds there, you inbound the ball, you get fouled, you make a couple shots, you win the game. And they just couldn't do that. I mean, Noah Vonleh just kind of throws it up for grabs for Yogi Ferrell near half court, and I mean, don't do that with a guy who's 5'11".
I never liked inbounding the ball when I played basketball.
No, me neither.
Because I never wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be that guy who like lost the game when all you have to do is inbound the ball to seal the game. I didn't want to be that guy. That was like my greatest fear.
Yeah, yeah.
I never wanted that to happen.
No, same here. And this again is, I wrote this after Minnesota that was kind of the dagger in IU's tournament hopes. And if that was the dagger, this is the like samurai sword. I mean, this it's very, very difficult to imagine Indiana getting to the NCAA tournament unless they heat up like crazy and either win out or win the Big Ten tournament, which is something that they don't really do. This was a team that started the year ranked in the top 25 in the AP poll, that a lot of people expected to be a tournament team. Not a high caliber, not a 1 or 2 seed or something like that, but to get in it's like a 5 or a 6 or something like that. And they're not going to come close, I don't think. I don't think. If you lose at home to Penn State,
last 4 out? Do they make the last 4 out?
I don't know. Maybe if they win, you got to beat Wisconsin on the road, Michigan on the road, Ohio State here.
Those will be some pretty marquee wins.
Yeah. And if you lose to Penn State at home, how can you justify expecting to beat Wisconsin at the Kohl Center or really any of the remaining games? It's very difficult to imagine this team somehow figuring out a way to get to the NCAA tournament. I assume you are of the same.
Oh yeah. Tonight. One more note on this game. Isn't it sort of weird? We thought that IU season was sort of turning when they beat Penn State at Penn State. It looked like that was sort of the grow-up game.
Right, where they learned to win a close game on the road.
If I recall, they were trailing at halftime in that game.
Yeah, they were down by like 15 in the first half.
They like really struggled, and then they made a big run, came back, and ended up doing really well in the second half to close out that game.
It looked like they'd matured, like they had grown up.
And
tonight, throughout that game.
However many games later, total 180.
Oh, absolutely. Where they were up, 13 at a point, and like they were up 12 with 3.5 minutes to go, and somehow just saw it completely slip away from them. And I don't know. Really, the rest of the games in the Big Ten, all of them are kind of toss-ups. But from this point out, I have no idea what to expect from this team. As Tom Crean said, 3 times after the game. This is the same Indiana team that beat Michigan a week ago. So I guess anything could happen from game to game. But this is a tough one to get over, I imagine, for Indiana. But we'll see what happens. Anything goes, especially on rivalry week. Indiana goes up to Purdue this Saturday at 4. I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah, sometime in the afternoon. We are going to be there. We're excited. It should be an interesting game. The loser of that game is going to fall to 4 and 8 in the Big Ten. So, yeah, state of Indiana basketball. The basketball in the state of Indiana.
Indiana State
not doing well. Yeah,
maybe
Indiana State.
Indiana State
Sure.
makes the tournament. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like Butler, Indiana, Purdue. Things are rough for the Big Three in Indiana, and Notre Dame is all right, but. We'll see what happens when Indiana goes up to Mackey on Saturday. We're going to wrap this up because I can't imagine anybody wants to watch 11 minutes of us talk about this game. But if you made it, thank you, and I'm sorry. We're going to be back on Saturday. Thanks for watching. For Robby Howard, I'm Alex McCarthy. This has been Inside Indiana Overtime.